Hey guys, what's up? This is Tom. Welcome back to my studio here on this progressively hotter and hotter August day. I'm sweating my balls off. But nevertheless, we are well within the first week of my 1-month guitar course, free online guitar course here on Fountainhead TV. We are in the hybrid picking week and today is day number 3, right? So on this day, on day number 3, we're going to advance even further in the topic of hybrid picking. And what we are doing is we are advancing from day number 1, where we had 2 strings, to day number 3, where we had, to day number 2, where we had 2 strings, to day number 3, where we have 4 strings. So much math. Right? And if you haven't checked out videos number 1 and 2, please do so, because I take you through all the necessary movements and hand positioning and all the details in that you will need to be able to play like that. Right? I talk about the caterpillar motion and how the hand positioning works, and also how the velocity of the different fingers is really important. So go back and watch that if you haven't already. Now, today, we're gonna play this little thing here. All right, so lots of concepts here to discover. Now, again, this is a guitar course that's specifically aimed to either beginner or intermediate players. If this is something that makes you go, seen I before, moving on, well, then my instructional video, Beyond the Strings, augmented reality, is what you want to get, because this takes all these concepts I'm talking about here and applying them in a real world playing situation in the rather complicated music that I play, with live performances, songs explained, full tab, an entire tab book, 1 hour of music, interviews, really in-depth stuff, like shedding light on every little movement, and the licks and the tricks within that are, way more advanced. Right? So that being said, what we're going to do here is we are basically applying all fingers in the right hand, playing 4 different strings, 1 with pick and 3 with plucking. And I showed you all the different right hand techniques and tricks in order to make this technique sound good. But what we haven't talked about in this context, in this hybrid picking context, is the left hand, because there's always a combination of things that you have to do in order to make this sound great. So every different picking technique has its own right hand positioning, and with that positioning come pros and cons. There's some things that you can't really do or have to do in order to play clean when you use a certain picking technique. So in this case, it's what I'm doing here, what I'm using to mute the strings and to keep this clean and to prevent the notes from ringing into each other, from bleeding into each other, is a left-hand muting technique that is pretty much the bread and butter of what I do on guitar. It's really, really important to me, and I've been working on it for many, many years, and it's pretty basic, the concept of it. So basically we are, and I'm going to explain the theory behind that for everybody in a second, but what we're doing is we're playing this. So 5th fret on the D string, 4th fret on the G string, 3rd fret on the B string, and then 2nd fret on the E string, which is a G major 7th arpeggio. So, and I'm playing, as you can hear, with a lot of distortion. So we want to play these notes one after the other and keep them really nice and clean and separated. So how do we do that? We are placing our fingers on top of each of those strings that we're playing, and top of each of the notes that we're playing, but we're not pressing down on the wood of the fretboard just yet. So I hope you can see that I'm, can you see my muscles flexing here in the hand? So if I don't apply any pressure, if I don't, create tension in the muscles, if I don't tense up, I'm touching the strings and the 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd fret each finger, but I'm not pressing down. So I only have this really percussive muted tone. And so I am trying to keep up this hand positioning in the left hand while I'm playing, and I'm only going to apply pressure to that one specific finger that I'm using for the note that's up next. So first note is the G. So you can hopefully see how this finger just moved. And I'm applying tension, pressing down on the fretboard, and now this note rings out. But the other ones, they're still muted. They haven't moved a bit. So now, once that note is done, I remove all the tension and I apply this same tension, the same force on the ring finger and the ring finger only, while now those fingers are doing the muting. And then again, removing the tension, releasing the tension from that finger and moving on to applying it to this finger. And all the other ones, they are being muted. And then last but not least, we're doing the same thing in the index finger, while all the other fingers are keeping up the muting technique. Right? So you're only applying the pressure when you need it. All the rest of the fingers are staying in place, staying relaxed, and so that way we create maximum muting, maximum clarity. And the lower notes, the A, E, and B string on my 7-string guitar here, which I'm not muting with the left hand, I can just easily mute with the right hand palm. So everything should be under control. And that's how I get it to sound that clean, right? And then never mind this little finger. I know there are some YouTube trolls who see me playing, and then the only thing they can comment is like, oh, he's so good, but somebody who's playing that good shouldn't be relying on hair bands. Really? Yeah. As if. Those hair bands are important to have if sometimes in the middle of a song you want to, get into like a two-handed thing, and then you need a little bit of extra muting to keep it consistent and clean. That's what it's for. You may have noticed that I have these, in 99% of time, I have these on the first fret, and what happens there is basically a tiny bit of muting on the high E and on the low B, but in between, that's not any muting. So I'd have to move them up to actually get some muting. So now that we cleared that up, back to the lick. So now that we know how to play this, and you can see that I'm also, when I'm playing it slow, doing a little bit of up and down movement here. That's perfectly natural. And the faster I play, the less of that there will be, right? So it's not two different techniques that I'm using, one slow and one fast. It's actually the same thing, but I'm giving myself a little bit of leeway when I'm playing it slow. So just really quickly for you guys out there who don't know how this lick works theory-wise, this is what we're doing. We are in the key of G major, and we are ascending through the diatonic 4-note arpeggios. So that means the following. Really, I try to explain this really briefly, okay? So you have 7 notes in the G major scale, on any major scale, in this case. And the number 8 is the first one again, right? So G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And so on each of those 7 notes, you can build 3, 4, 5, 6 note chords by stacking the interval of thirds. That means that on the first note, on G, you go up and you find the third interval that works in the scale. So minor third wouldn't work because that note is not in the scale of G major, but the major one works because that note B is in the scale. So then from that note, I do the same thing. Another major third wouldn't work because that note is not in the scale, but a minor third works. So blah, 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 blah. This is a topic unto itself. So basically we are building thirds, and that gives us different 4-note chords on each note within the scale, so on each scale step. So on the first note we have a major 7th chord. On the second one we have a minor 7th chord. On the third one we have another minor 7th. On the fourth one we have another major 7th. On the fifth one we have a dominant 7th, meaning a major triad with a flat 7th. And then on the 6th we have another minor 7th. On the 7th one we have a what can be called a half diminished. So it's a minor 7th with a flat 5th. So these are the 7 arpeggios that we will get. And so this is what we're doing. We are going from G up, the scale. And on each one of those notes, we are building one of those 4-note chords in thirds. So we have one note for each string. And then we land here on the root note on the G. So we have G major 7th, A minor 7th, B minor 7th, C major 7th, D dominant 7th, A minor 7th, F sharp half diminished, and again the one G major 7th. Alright, so that's it. That's it for today. Obviously, please, guys, don't just learn this. I know I've said this plenty of times on this YouTube channel, but again, don't just learn a lick and then just, set it and forget it. You need to apply these concepts. You need to internalize these concepts. You can play them in different keys, in different scenarios, on different strings, all over the fretboard. Just make sure that this concept is internalized and becomes a part of your playing identity, so you can bust it out and you can use it depending on the situation that you're in. And you don't have to wait until that very specific tempo, timing, time signature, sound, or whatever that you practiced it in comes again, so you can finally, bust out that thing that you've learned. That's not how it works. You have to make it work in every imaginable scenario. Only then you have internalized it, you have mastered it, if you will. So that's really important. Also really important, buy my instructional video. Oh, how's that for a segue? So I have an instructional video online on www.beyondthestrings.de. And if you think that these concepts here are, not enough for you, you want more complicated things, you want more advanced things, that is the way to go. So ring the bell besides the subscription button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, because I am in the middle of uploading 30 guitar lessons. So every day there's a new guitar lesson, and I've scheduled it so that we have 4 different areas of guitar playing covered each week. And then within that week, I get deeper and deeper into the concept each day, making it progressively harder and introducing you to loads of different applications for that technique. And again, 1 video for every day. So you don't want to miss any one of those, because I really try to make it worthwhile for every type of player, and ring the notification bell so these videos are not getting lost in the YouTube static, in the wealth of things being released, right? And also questions, comments below. I will do my best to answer them. If you have something that you want to cover, please let me know. If you want the tabs for this exercise, no problem. Then you just have to subscribe to me on social media, because there I will be posting them on my Instagram and on my Facebook. So also you can apply for a Skype lesson with me. We can talk about all these different concepts, go way beyond the scope of a video like that. Obviously, we can go into playing psychology. We can get into what makes you tick as a musician, and we can improve your songwriting. We can give you different creative strategies to come up with ideas and songs. Happy to talk about all of that, production, mixing, whatever it is that you need help on. So shoot me a message on social media if you want to do that. And that's it for now. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Good luck with this. Tomorrow we will be getting even deeper. Peace. Bye.